Welcome back to Eyewitness News this morning, 8:30 on your Wednesday, and as he is every week, Charlie O'Hara is here in studio. Thanks for coming back, Charlie.
Good to be here.
Appreciate it. I understand you had a vacation. Hopefully you're feeling rested and ready for these questions.
I don't know about that. It's already been a long week, and it's only the third day.
Well, hopefully we'll see how this goes. It sounds like we have a couple of callers. Caller, go ahead. You're on the line.
Hi, if a boyfriend and a girlfriend each have got DUIs and they need a interlock on a car and they only own one car, is it possible for both of them to have one on a car, on the same car?
Well, I don't know. I think you'd actually have to check into that. I'm not sure about that. That's kind of an unusual situation when two people sharing a car both have DUIs. I think it's possible, but you're going to have to run through everything so that they can do it correctly. What an interlock is, it's something that causes you to have to blow into the car before you start the car and drive it. And whoever would be doing that that's to ensure that the person driving the vehicle is sober when they drive it. So they put those in after you've had a DUI, and that's what the call's actually about. And if two people share that, I think the technology would allow them to do that, but I think you'd have to go through the procedure to check that out. Okay?
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it. We have a second caller as well. Caller, go ahead. Caller, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a rental house, and the tenants have a dog that is getting loose, and the neighbors have threatened legal action. I was just wondering if I am liable for the actions of my tenant's dog.
Well, what we get into in those situations is a little bit of knowledge. I don't know what your lease says, but I assume there's something in there about a nuisance or something. If the dog is really a danger to the community or a danger to the neighbors, and it could cause some problems, you need to get that straightened up with your tenant. If your tenant won't straighten it up, you probably need to have your tenant leave. So most of the dog cases get into whether someone has knowledge that the dog might be vicious. And if they do have knowledge of that, that's where the liability comes in. So I would think in your instance, because you're getting some notice of it now, you need to check into it, see if it can be put under control. And if not, you're probably going to have to get your tenants out of there. Okay?
Thank you, Charlie. We do have a third caller. Caller, go ahead. You're on the line.
Hello. Yes. I just had a question about custody. My boyfriend, he's got his kids right now staying with him, but his ex-wife has just decided just to up and leave and move to California and take the kids without any notice. She just told him about it. I think he has rights. Just curious what his rights are.
Well, actually, I think in that instance, she's supposed to give some written notice, quite frankly, if she's going to change the children from one state to another, because that really affects custody. I mean, for instance, if you go to California, you won't even be able to see your children, except maybe by Skype or something like that. So that's a real big deal. So if that's happening, he probably ought to go to court and have a judge decide on whether or not she can even leave to California. Because even though she's got a job and she wants to go, the children are paramount to everything going on. And if the children need to have a relationship and a close relationship with both parents, and there's a reason that both parents can stay in Kansas, the judge may very well order them both to stay here. Okay?
Good to know.
Okay.
Thank you, Charlie. Since we have a little extra time, and I have a question for you, just out of curiosity. So many times you talk about lease agreements or contracts. That's always what you reference back to make sure, to find an easier way maybe to resolve something. What are examples? I mean, can any lease or any contract be taken to a lawyer just as a checkup before you sign something? You
could, but I mean, usually most of them are pretty formed contracts, actually. And most of them, there's kind of a standard way to do things, and people put, some people put some unusual things in there that actually aren't legal, trying to limit people's behavior. But usually there's a contract, and you probably ought to read it and make sure you understand what's in it before you sign it, because the contract, the mutual agreement between the parties is actually what controls. Now, if it's completely unreasonable, attorneys get involved, but usually that contract controls. So when you sign it, you ought to be sure and know what you're signing.
So make sure maybe to have a second pair of eyes. Take a look at it. Okay. Well, thank you again, Charlie, for coming in. And of course, if you didn't get a chance to ask your question today, you can call in next week, 436-1212. We're going to take a short break, though, on Eyewitness News. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Expect more on KSCW. This is Eyewitness News this morning in high definition. Online at kwch.com. Follow KWCH on Facebook and Twitter.